I am the body snatcher. You know we love tummy tucks on this show. Welcome back to Boxing.
Welcome back, loyal fight fans, to another epic round of boxing. First and foremost, please hit the thumbs up button for me. That is much appreciated. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I don't know what you're waiting for. And third most, if you know a friend, a family member, a crazy ex-girlfriend who enjoys combat sports, please tell them to watch this. They'd probably enjoy watching this show. We got a good show for you today. We're going to recap the Jesse Bam Rodriguez win that was highly impressive. We're going to give you our take on the Akhmadaliev win, which I did not think was so impressive. Maybe that's a new take for you guys on this show here. And we're going to talk about a little bit about the McCaskill fight as well. Not too many upcoming fights this next week, but we're back. The Amish man himself, who has not shaved in a very long time and is living as a tomato in 95-degree weather here in the Pacific Northwest. All right, so let's jump right in. Today, the notes were forgotten, but at least we got a picture of him from the phone. Let's get it. Okay, so Jesse Bam Rodriguez stops the legend Soi Rungvasai in round number 8. This is first and foremost highly impressive. It is not that we didn't pick Bam Rodriguez to win, as many others did, but you know, the odds were not outstanding, first off, and, you know, in difference there as far as boxing goes. And Soi Rungvasai really is a legend, man. If you don't know who Soi Rungvasai is, you know, I can't really help you if you don't know who the great Hall of Famer Chocolatito is. But Soi Rungvasai is a man that actually was able to stop and knock out the great Chocolatito. And he came back here. He's strong as hell. He punches. Rungvasai punches probably harder than any person in that division. He's got a fantastic record of 55-1, and you know, he's just he's like known as the legend killer from that Chocolatito performance, and just a dominant world champion. You know, he's from Thailand. All those guys, just to be honest, man, all those guys are super tough. If you don't know about Muay Thai and things like that, which he's dabbled in, you know, being from Thailand, obviously, it's just a super, super tough guy. And even here, it was a great stoppage by the referee, but he's still on his feet, you know, just taking unreal abuse. His head just being snapped back repeatedly against the ropes. And finally, the referee stopped, and it was a great stoppage. So I just didn't think that Rodriguez would be able to stop Rungvasai because of that legendary chin, because he's so tough, and because he's a veteran with almost 60 professional fights. He is just, I don't even know how to say it. If you guys don't know who he is, it's not that he's always not a slouch. It was a good opponent. It's a great opponent. It's possibly the best opponent you could have gotten. You know, different sanctioning bodies, as you guys know in boxing, have different, you know, ranking systems within each weight class. But, you know, this is at super flyweight, you know, aka junior bantamweight. And basically, a lot of these lists would have Jesse Rodriguez, though he was favored because he's such a talented kid and everybody just shows right through the screen. Everybody can see it. But a lot of them had him placed down around 7 or 8 in the top 10 rankings of just, you know, super flyweight or junior bantamweight. You know, take your preference there. But he defeated Soi Rungvasai, who was number 2. And I just didn't think he'd stop him. And I also thought he'd win, but that Rungvasai would get some rounds. I wasn't able to score a single round for Soi Rungvasai in this fight. And he got stopped in the 8th round in a good stoppage, not at all early, man. Soy Rungvasai kind of knew, I think, if this wasn't the game plan going in, it certainly became it, that he was not concerned with winning rounds because he pretty much was realizing that he could not. And so he invested in the body on this kid a lot, and God bless him, Soy Rungvasai. You know, he certainly just lived up to it with the chin and whatnot, and his power. And Rodriguez, you know, you have different kind of levels of talents, different things that people are good at, and Rodriguez's thing is being slick, being a great boxer, man. He's not just young and he's got a chin and he's powerful and let's see how these guys. No, he's slick as fuck, and his whole thing is actually more than anything, more than just head movement or overall defense. His thing is kind of cutting angles. He's said as much that he was inspired by watching Vasily Lomachenko, and you can see that in this kid's performances even before this one. He gets fighters off balance because he likes to evade the shot and cut on an angle while you're throwing to get on the side of you, and it really gets people off balance and tripping over their own feet. He was able to do that here against Soy Rungvasai, and yeah, just what a fantastic performance. Let me real quick, because we're gonna talk about, you know, who should be next. So first off, his brother, I believe it is Joshua Franco, or a cousin brother-in-law, something. He's related to Joshua Franco, and in that weight class, and says that he won't fight him. You know, he's not gonna fight his brother there. But Franco is ranked down there, and he is 18-1-2. Jesse Rodriguez now at this point 15-0. Francisco Rodriguez 35-5-1. Donnie Nietis 43-1-6. You got Soy Rungvasai was just beat at 55-1. Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez at 51-3. And then you have your champion Juan Francisco Estrada at 42-3 for his record. So this is a stacked weight class, and you don't need him to fight his brother here, not to mention that those guys were mostly on most lists, as I said, ranked, both of them, him and Franco, between 7 or 8, and kind of vice versa. Take your pick there. So beating the number 2, there's no reason to have that fight anyway. Chocolatito was kind of promised this rematch with Estrada, and it fell through, if you guys didn't know. And so Chocolatito took on Martinez, was able to stop the young hype train there in Martinez, and now does, I believe, you know, deserve, as he has, the rematch in a closely contested and somewhat arguable decision to give that to Estrada in their last fight. So I do want to see Estrada Chocolatito 3. And if that's the case, and he just beat Soy Rungvasai, you know, take your pick between Donnie Nietis and Francisco Rodriguez. He's not going to fight Franco. You know, you can just kind of take your pick, or you can wait him out. If we're going to get a Chocolatito Estrada number 3 soon enough, then I say that you sit Bam out at this young age and just looking as incredible as he is. He's going to be in the gym. I say you sit him out for the winner of that fight. And if you want to throw him a stay busy, yeah, take your pick between those other guys. But he is ready, man. You know, he came up and fought Carlos Quadros, who's a very fantastic fighter, and had an upset victory over him. That's the reason. That was his fight before this, and that's the only reason he was kind of favored, as like, wow, now we really know this kid means business. There's just a lot going on in this weight class, but he's next up, man. He's next up, and Eddie Hearn's got a special talent in that young man. Again, that was super impressive to me. And then we're going to talk about now here Akhmadaliev. He does stop Ronnie Rios, and in my humble opinion, finally, in the 12th and final round of a fight where not only was he a huge favorite to win, obviously, against Ronnie fucking Rios, and no disrespect, man, but if we're just talking real here, you know, I'm not a promoter or something, so that's what you would come here to hear, is that he was supposed to stop him before. You know what the over-under for that fight was? It was favored that the fight wouldn't go over 8 rounds. It was decently favored that it wouldn't pass 8 rounds, and my mind was more at, like, who knows, super early, or I would like to see him stop him around the 5th or 6th round is what I thought. And he took too long. He took too long for a guy who won every single round of the fight. If you're winning, he's supposed to run over Ronnie Rios. It's actually better to me if we saw Ronnie Rios, like, winning rounds in there. I wouldn't trash talk him. I'd say the guy stepped up his performance. Hey, look, it was harder, but he still got the job done. But that wasn't the case in this fight, because Ronnie Rios didn't win a single fucking round. And so it wasn't supposed to go 12 rounds, man. I mean, I literally, after the 10th round, was like, well, this is just going to decision now. And how are we supposed to be inspired to believe that Akhmadaliev, which I did believe this before, I always favored Stephen Fulton Jr. to be able to beat Akhmadaliev, but before this, I thought that's a highly competitive fight, and that's an awesome fight. Not even now. I'm not inspired to believe that that's a competitive fight. You couldn't get Ronnie Rios barely out of there within 12 rounds. It took you to the final minute to get him out of there. And he wasn't able to do a thing to you before that. I just don't understand that. And it doesn't inspire confidence that it will be a competitive fight when Akhmadaliev and Stephen Fulton Jr. step in there. Stephen Fulton, Fulton will just, Cool Boy Steph's just going to run this guy. I really just think he's going to run him over. And now Akhmadaliev's got a chin on him. And Akhmadaliev, usually known for inside fighting, his last performance, he fought on the outside a bit. It's like, oh, okay. Now, why are you fighting outside again with Ronnie Rios? You are not going to make anybody believe that you, before this fight, or certainly after, that you'd be able to hang in a technical, on the outside boxing match with Stephen Fulton. Okay? No one's buying that. And the only thing that was going to happen is that we know you're decent enough to kind of not be a slouch at boxing, right? But you're an inside fighter, and Akhmadaliev, and you hit very hard. And so that's kind of your chance. But we've already watched Stephen Fulton Jr., Cool Boy Steph. We've already watched him fight on the outside, fight on the inside against incredible inside fighters like Figueroa. We've already seen that before. So I just know what will happen now, and it will be that Fulton, that it's less competitive than it seemed before this Akhmadaliev victory. That's my stance on it. I don't want to sugarcoat it and just everybody's impressive because they got a win. This was supposed to be a lot easier. This was supposed to end a lot sooner than it did, and that's for sure. And what's next here? I got this bearded dragon fucking running around by my feet. Hello, you. Let's see if she wants to come up and say hello. There she goes. All right. So now we are, pretty much, short of that, we were going to touch really quick also on the Jessica McCaskill. Sorry, I'm getting caught up here because there is another big topic I want to touch on, but I'm thinking that I'm going to do a separate video for that, though it will be short. It is about MMA. If there's any MMA fans out there, we will be doing a little breakdown on the Mateus Gamrot versus Arman Sarukian fight that took place. That was an epic fight, and it is a disputed decision. And so I'm going to do a separate video on that if there's some MMA fans out there that want to tune in for that one. But before we go, let's touch on Jessica McCaskill. So again, with just saying what's impressive, what's not, Bam Rodriguez's performance is impressive, highly impressive, against literally about as stiff a competition as you can get, minus, again, Chocolatito and Estrada, Roman Gonzalez and Juan Estrada. Those two guys are already supposed to fight, and so outside of them, there is handedly just no one who you could have gave this kid that would have been more of a test than Soy Rungvasai. So that's an impressive win, okay? But what's not an impressive win, Jesus Christ, this dragon's all over the place. What's not an impressive win is again the Akhmadaliev one, in my humble opinion. And again, to touch on that, what's not that impressive is Jessica McCaskill winning a fight she was supposed to win. And I just want to say, so some people are just kind of haters, or they don't like what they're looking at, whatever, with female boxing, okay? I have kind of worked pretty hard at and many people, much more important than myself, who are actually in the media, right? There are people that have worked very hard to promote female boxing. I'm a believer in promoting female boxing. But when we see like the highest level of just a fight of the year contender in Taylor versus Serrano, which I just lost, everybody in the world lost their mind over that, did records at MSG, the notorious Madison Square Garden venue, and we get a fight of the year contender where it's brawn and it's guts and heart and will, determination, but it's also high level boxing. It's the best of female boxing. When we've seen something like that this year, and then we watch Jessica McCaskill come out, who's lost, to Katie Taylor. Just Katie Taylor had an easy time with McCaskill. I wanted to see more out of Jessica McCaskill, and I like her. I'm glad again that she is earning some name value in a rising sport of female boxing. But when we've seen that and we've been spoiled by such great things, I didn't think that, McCaskill versus some girl, was going to live up to that kind of fight. But I did expect that maybe we would see more out of McCaskill than swing with wide punches and wear my heart on my sleeve like I've done every other fight. If she's not going to move away from that, you're not going to get very far. And the moment that we see some kind of, who's a great and very good boxer who's in female boxing is Estrada. Sinisa Estrada is a fantastic female boxer, okay? Like technical boxing, head movement, very good, precise, accurate jabs, things like that. Being able to counter, she is someone to look out for that. So when you have, and then you have Serrano, and then you have Katie Taylor, you have Clarissa Shields, who can box her ass off as well, but she doesn't have any kind of competition up there at that higher weight. There's no girls for her there, unfortunately. But when you have these women that can fight like that, man, McCaskill, you're not gonna go very far past beating, fighters that no one's heard of, that you are handedly supposed to win anyway, and then you're getting into kind of mini little wars with them and still getting hit. There's no reason for that. You should use this time, because it's not her fault, just like it's not Clarissa Shields' fault if there's not much competition at the moment for them to fight with, right? Other girls to fight with. The only thing you can do then, though, is use that time to show off more boxing skill, because it's not that hard. What will happen if you run into a girl like Sinisa Estrada, or you have to fight Taylor again, or Serrano, right? I mean, what will happen to you is you will have no chance. You won't have any chance at all to do that, because you're not using this time of, let's just call it like it is, easy fights, which again isn't their fault if they're in a weight class that's not stacked with great opponents. But the only thing you can do is work on bettering yourself and making each of your performances show that they're better. And then you can sit back and say to everyone, I will beat whoever you put in front of me, and it is not my fault if there's not great people for you to put in front of me. But the moment there is, the moment you give a high-level competition to me, I'm showing I'm ready for that. I do not believe that Jessica McCaskill's doing that. I think it looked a little bit sloppy still, and it's kind of vintage McCaskill. I'll get hit and I'll eat one to give one kind of deal. And it's just like, that's not going to cut it the moment that you step into a real fight. But those are just kind of a little bit different takes where I'm just trying to be really honest about what we saw over the weekend. And again, when we say Bam Rodriguez was so impressive, that's why he was so impressive, because we're holding it up to other standards. You can't say everybody else's win was impressive. That Akhmadaliev one was not to me, and the McCaskill win was not to me. So until next time, loyal fight fans, enjoy the fights. And again, if we have any MMA fans out there that care to listen, I'll be doing a separate video, which I put some more time into here, touching on the Gamrot versus Sarukian fight that took place as well over the weekend. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the subscribe button, and tell that crazy ex-girlfriend to watch my show.